Let's say China.
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 China. China.
China.
There are no storm movers, and you can actually see Russia from land here in Alaska.
Go over to China.
I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
Trump statement, tweeting out insults to Angela Merkel. What's he doing?
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome your host.
Yes. Hello, and welcome. I am James Andrews, and you are listening to So This Happened, the only news you need if today there was an official portrait of you unveiled. It is Monday, the 12th of February 2018, and I'm back. I apologise for being off last week. I had a cold and I couldn't help it. I couldn't talk. I'm still a little bit stuffed up right now, actually. I sound like I'm talking through my nose. Well, maybe I don't. It's sort of one of in my headphones, I sound like I'm talking through my nose. Maybe I sound fine. I don't know. Maybe my ears are all fucked up. But I'm back. I'm feeling much better. Thank you very much for asking. And before we go any further, this is mainly for the ladies who are listening, because it's very difficult for you to understand because you don't have the same biology as men. And this isn't me being sexist in any way, shape or form, but there is what is commonly referred to as the man cold. Okay, and that's what I had. It's sort of incredibly bad, much worse than anything anybody else experiences except for men, hence the name the man cold. It's not fair, but that's how it is. You guys have childbirth, we have the man cold, and that's sort of nature's way of balancing the buck a little bit. So that's why I was off for 2 days, not because I didn't want to be here. I couldn't. I literally had the man cold, and it was awful. And speaking of awful, and actually, you know what, maybe that's a little bit harsh, but today Barack and Michelle Obama's official portraits were unveiled, and I say awful, but that is a little harsh there. Reactions to the paintings have been, I think, mixed is a fair way to describe it. Even Barack, when he saw the picture of himself, he was sort of like, wow, well, here he is, have a listen to this.
How about that? That's pretty sharp. I mean, there were a number of issues that we were trying to negotiate. I tried to negotiate less gray hair. And Kehende's artistic integrity would not allow him to do what I asked. I tried to negotiate smaller ears. Struck out on that as well. It's hard to obviously judge something that is a portrait of you. But what I can say unequivocally is that I am in awe of Kehende's gifts and what he and Amy have given to this country and to the world.
Okay, so there was Barack after seeing the portrait for the first time. And it doesn't sound like a man who's massively blown away. It's not sort of like this lost Picasso was discovered and he goes, my God, it's a lost Picasso. The painting, if you haven't seen it, and you should go look at it, it's a picture of Barack sitting down in a chair and he's getting sort of swallowed by a bush. I think that's not George or not that bush, but a literal green bush. It's sort of enveloping him. It's not a traditional portrait in the way that a lot of presidents go. It's definitely, I don't want to say abstract, because it's certainly not abstract. You can see it's Barack Obama getting swallowed by a bush. Yeah, it is what it is. It's quite nice. I suppose if anyone wants to paint a portrait of me, that'd be fine. Don't have me swallowed by a bush, though. I'm not massively into that. Now, Michelle's reaction was priceless as well, because her painting is perhaps the most controversial of the two, in the way that it doesn't really look like her at all. So as far as a painting goes, I suppose it's quite nice. She's got this dress which is very geometric, and it sort of becomes part of the painting towards the bottom, and then the dress morphs into the body of the lady playing Michelle in this portrait. I don't know. I mean, I've spent a lot of time looking at both Michelle and Barack. And Barack's, I can definitely say, yeah, that's Barack Obama. If I was just to look at Michelle's, I'd sort of go, well, it's a nice painting, but who is that lady? Is she just sort of... Did you just invent her? Or did you actually have a model? Because I don't know. Like I said, I'm not an art critic. I'm not knocking it. They're very nice paintings. It's just... they're just different, I suppose. And in a story that makes me just sort of shake my head and say... What the fuck is wrong with people in this world? A man was ejected from a store in England. The store is called Halfords. They're sort of a car parts, camping equipment sort of supply shop. He was ejected because he had a funny walk. And I know when I hear funny walk, the first thing I do is go to the Ministry of Silly Walks with John Cleese and the Python Boys. But no, this man had Parkinson's, and his disease caused him to drag his leg on the ground. The manager of the store kicked him out. When he told the manager, look, I have Parkinson's, that's why I'm doing this funny walk. I'm not taking the piss, I'm not being funny. This is what I have a disease. The manager said, I don't care what you've got. I want you to leave the store. Now, Halfords has apologised profusely since this incident took place, but the fact that they had to apologise for it is staggering. I don't understand what is wrong with people. You see a bloke come in the store who clearly has some sort of disease. You don't think, oh, fuck it, I'm kicking him out. Look at that, I don't like the way he's walking. He's probably going to shoplift something, because people that drag their fucking legs on the ground, they are statistically more likely to shoplift than people that walk normally. Get the fuck out of my store. It's just, I mean, come on. Let's just use your fucking heads, yeah? And now on to somebody who definitely needs to use his fucking head. Donald Trump. Today, he announced the 2019 budget. And, well, it's exactly what you would expect a budget from Donald Trump to be. He wants to spend lots and lots of money on the military, just in case he wants to start a war. He obviously wants to build his wall, his big wall, very important. He wants to fight the opioid epidemic, which I find particularly interesting, and this might be me being a little bit cynical, but I think actually it's just me being realistic. Drugs have been a problem in America for quite a long time, but now the opioid epidemic, this is the suburban kids, this is the white kids, they're doing the fucking drugs now. Now, when it was in the ghetto, yeah, just keep it there, that's fine. Now, this is in our neighbourhoods. These are our friends, our family. We gotta fucking do something about this. I don't know, maybe I'm off on that, but I don't think I am. Anyway, here's what the president had to say about his budget this afternoon.
In the budget, we took care of the military like it's never been taken care of before. In fact, General Mattis called me. He goes, wow, I can't believe I got everything we wanted. I said, that's right, but we want no excuses. We want you to buy twice, okay? Twice what you thought for half the price. Our military was totally depleted, and we will have a military like we've never had before. We're going to have an incredible military. And to me, that means a couple of things. Number one, it does mean jobs, but really, number one, it means safety and security. Because without the military, and we may have very strong views on spending, which I have, but without the military, it's possible there's no reason for us to be meeting. Maybe we wouldn't be here. So we're going to have the strongest military we've ever had by far. We're increasing arsenals of virtually every weapon. We're modernizing and creating a brand new nuclear force. And frankly, we have to do it because others are doing it. If they stop, we'll stop. But they're not stopping. So if they're not going to stop, we're going to be so far ahead of everybody else in nuclear like you've never seen before.
He's such a fucking drama queen, isn't he? It's amazing. If it wasn't for the military, we would not even be here meeting right now. We would have been obliterated from the entire planet. It's a disaster waiting to happen. So there's Trump calling for a massive military, biggest nuclear arsenal you've ever seen. And the thing is, I would argue, and I know I'm a peacenik and all that, I get that, but do we really need a massive military? You know, the last war that we had, the last big war, I suppose, was, you could maybe argue it was the Iraq War in the early 90s, or before that Vietnam, which is a fucking nightmare, and before that you've got sort of Korea, World War II, World War I. It's not like there've been any massive wars recently. There's lots of little wars and everything where just people go, oh, my god's better than your god, fuck off, and they have a fight. But I don't know, I don't see the need for this massive military, especially when it means that other things which, like I said earlier, most Americans really do rely on. So he's going to spend all this money on the military for a plan, and the plan calls it a lethal, resilient and agile military, which, I don't know, it's, there we go. But what it also does is, because they're going to spend all this money on a military, which I would argue is not really needed, is it? I mean, that's just sort of so you can walk in a room and go, I've got a bigger fucking dick than you. That's what that is, isn't it? Right? I've got a bigger dick than you, Kim Jong-un. That's all this is. We know that. But so Donald Trump can feel like he's got a massive penis. What is getting cut? Well, things that are getting cut is massive domestic entitlement programs. And that word entitlement, I know the Republicans don't like it because they don't want anyone to be entitled. But entitlement programs are things like Medicare and Medicaid and food aid, public broadcasting, all these things that most people in this country really enjoy, and some people in this country really need to live, to survive. So with this budget, agencies like the Department of Homeland Security, Veterans Affairs, which I'm good with that one, Defense, they're going to see the biggest increases they've ever seen. But other things, departments like the State Department, the Labour Department, the Environmental Protection Agency, the Housing Department, the Urban Development Departments, they are all going to see massive decreases. So to me, I look at this budget and it looks like, okay, so you're going to build this big army, but you just said if we didn't have a big army, why would we even be here meeting? But I would also argue, if you cut all these other programs which are essential for a lot of Americans, what's the point in being there meeting, right? What's the point of having a massive army if there's no one, that needs protection? Because you fucking killed them all off. In many ways, this reminds me of when Mrs. Andrews and myself sit down to do our annual budget, right? Because if it was my way, and I suppose I'll be Donald Trump in this scenario, don't ever repeat that to anyone, by the way, just in this particular scenario, and I'm sort of looking at it and going, okay, so we've got all this money. What I want to do is, I want to spend a significant amount on entertainment. Speakers, I want speakers in every room. I want just cool shit everywhere. Gadgets. I want fucking gadgets everywhere. Mrs. Andrews says, well, what about food and the bills and the electric, the gas? What about those, James? I say, yeah, that's okay. We can cut back on those because we're going to have all this really fucking cool stuff. So when people come over, they're going to go, wow, look at all these cool stuff. Now, we might not be able to feed them. We might not have any furniture for them to sit on, but we're going to have some fucking cool stuff in the house. And that is exactly what this budget is, isn't it? It's like a little boy's budget. I want a massive fucking army. I want soldiers everywhere. Tanks and bombs and missiles and aeroplanes that fly without wings. And it's going to be amazing. Oh, and there's one other thing too. The budget obviously calls for massive border security to the tune of $23 billion. So if we go back to my initial scenario, I'm also going to say to Mrs. Andrews, and I want a killer security system. I want sensors on every single window, every single door. I want underfloor sensors, so if someone fucking walks on it, I want lasers like in Mission Impossible. So the only person that's breaking in my goddamn house is Tom Cruise. That's it. He's welcome, but he'll have to break in through the lasers. So this really is a little boy's budget. I never even thought about this until just now, honestly. But this is a little boy's budget. This is like all the cool stuff. And all the important stuff is sort of put aside a little bit to the wayside, but we're going to have cool stuff. We're going to have fucking lasers and entertainment systems. It's going to be awesome. And I could honestly go on talking about this all day, but unfortunately my voice is really, really hurting me right now. So we're just going to call it a day. It's been wonderful to be back. It's been really nice. I hope you enjoyed the conversation. I thought it was good as always. Anyway, we'll do this all again on Wednesday. So if you would like to write a little review for me on iTunes or Google Play, wherever you want, that would be awesome. Helps out with the ratings. We're also on Spotify right now, so you can now listen to me on Spotify, which is pretty exciting. So we'll do that. Anyway, we'll do this again on Wednesday, so take care. Good night. Bye.